Well,
Uh,
trick or treat. Hold on. I just realized there aren't 17,500 people here, so I don't need the mask right now. But hello, all. I thought I'd put on my special jammies for the occasion because it is Halloween and it's also going to be late as hell when this show ends here on the East Coast. So we're back.
That's great. Man, I kept thinking that was a second set. All this cool, high energy stuff kept happening. What a show. We'll quickly
Really.
run down the list. Samson and Delilah, Uncle John's Band, Brown Eyed Women, Touch of Grey in the middle of the set, for God's sakes, Dire Wolf, Hell in a Bucket, and Terrapin Station. That's that's a pretty high value set of tunes coming through there. That was there's no what do you call it? Not a speck of cereal in these shows, as Frank
I
Zappa
guess you
used
could.
to say.
I guess you could say all treat, no trick on this occasion.
Very good.
And speaking of tricks, we're hoping to have our guest come in a minute. We were having some technical difficulties bringing our guest in, but he's a prankster, so
That's
there's
right.
very little we can do about that. But in the
We'll
meantime,
get him.
yeah, in the meantime, we can tell you some stuff. Yeah, I agree, David. Another phenomenal first set, and it makes you think, wait, there's a second set too, and we're looking forward to that one. But in the meantime, while we're waiting here, we can tell you that we are here about to see the final set of this fantastic tour, and this is our final edition of Dead Air with Lambert and Gans, and I'm going to miss it. But it is brought to you by Nugs.net. The wonderful people who are bringing you these live streams have brought you the entire tour, bring you so much great music from so many great artists, and have been collecting every Dead and Company show since 2016 and have it available for streaming. But you can get complete shows from this tour, the live stream, even after the show is over. You can go back, purchase the show, watch it for 48 hours after you start watching it, and you can go back and purchase the entire tour. And if you've missed this entire tour, your friends will shun you. Your family won't speak to you. You're going to need to have this entire tour. I'm just kidding. It's Halloween. We're just joking around here. No, you can. We encourage you to avail yourself of this fabulous music that has occurred on this tour because it's been just an amazing ride for all of us.
I agree. I have been keeping notes and extracting audio bits from all of the shows on this tour, and there has not been much in the way of weak moments. I've been really, really impressed with the music. The visuals also, I can't say enough for the high. I don't have a 4K screen. I have no idea what that looks like, but the HD that I'm getting on my screen in my living room is amazing quality. And I just love watching. My wife is a big fan of the hands of musicians. She loves watching John Batiste play the piano. So
Right.
Jeff He has very different looking arms and hands from John Batiste and Oteil Burbridge. It's so nice to be able to watch, not just to watch the hands on the instruments, but to watch the contact among the musicians, the eye contact, the communication. It's an extremely intimate form of music making, and we are really, really, really close to it with this video stream. It's quite impressive.
And that's always been one of the great qualities of this music for me. One of the things has made me marvel for all these years. If you can convey intimacy to tens of thousands of people, you're doing something really amazing, because most rock and roll is pretty emphatic, hit you over the head stuff, at least the stuff that plays in venues of this level. And here you get these incredible subtleties and music that falls almost to a whisper and then can get really powerful and really knock your socks off. And this band is doing it at such a level. And one of the other visuals you get is the appearance of musicians surprising one another. I love reaction shots when someone else plays something that just delights the guy next to him or on the drum riser or whatever. That's a really fantastic moment. And that really shows that this music is happening on a fantastic level of communication.
And that gives me occasion to call your attention to Derek Featherstone, who's the front of house mixer for these concerts, and the reason the sound is so clear and evenly distributed to the people in the building and to the people at home. We
Yes,
got good
and
stuff in my living room.
yeah, and it's great headphone music. I listen on headphones a lot, and you also can get each of these shows, music, just the musical portion, like a half hour to an hour after the show ends. You can either stream it or you can download it in a variety of high quality formats. Have it on your phone before the night is over. What an amazing thing!
And the link to do all that is livedead.co. It's nugs.net is the engine behind all of it. Livedead.co is the public facing address for all of your Dead and Company needs, audio and video. There's also a partnership with SiriusXM nowadays that includes access to large swaths of the nugs.net audio archive. And I don't know exactly what you get in your SiriusXM packages, but Nugs has a huge amount of music from dozens, if not hundreds, of different artists, and classic stuff like Bruce Springsteen live tape soundboard shows from 1978, and Pearl Jam and Wilco and stuff like that, and lots of Bob Weir and Wolf Bros as well, right?
That's right. Yes, they did the live streams of several of Bob's shows, and now you can listen to the music for streaming. And there's more and more coming. Brad told us they just recently got some new Riders of the Purple Sage stuff. So a lot of Grateful Dead family related stuff is out there for your listening pleasure. I think Billy Strings has been doing stuff with Nugs. So many of our favorites are available on nugs.net. So go to livedead.co to check out these live streams. And you can also go straight to Nugs.net to check out all that archival material as well.
We are waiting for our guests to arrive. There's been some difficulty getting the connection organized. So Gary and I are just BSing until our guest arrives. We got some questions for him if he ever shows up.
Right.
We can't forward promote the tour anymore. This is the last night of the tour. There's parts of me that are going to be happy to have my normal routines returning, because having to rearrange my life and my eating schedule and a bunch of other stuff, 3 or 4 days a week over the last 10 weeks has been quite an adventure. And now things are going to be just sort of boring and regular, play my show at 4. But then, we got to do this. We had a wonderful time, and listening carefully to this music and watching these concerts in real time for so long over this stretch of time has been really, really fun and satisfying and enjoyable. I've always listened to the tours, or most of the tour, but usually in the form of downloaded audio, listening in the car and stuff. But to actually throw a party and have some people dancing in my living room while I'm watching this that show that we're presenting, it's just been a real treat the whole time.
Yeah, it really has. One of our callers to Tales from the Golden Road on Sirius XM today brought up the dreaded term post-tour letdown, and I hadn't even considered that. Especially, it's going to manifest for me in a really strange way, because here I've been at home watching this tour, and now I'm going to say, "Oh man, I can't stay home and watch a show tonight at home. I've got to go out and do things." It's a really different kind of post-tour letdown. I've been on tour without going anywhere, and it's actually been quite delightful. Although I've missed the fellowship with my friends on the rail and all that, it's been a great way to observe this, largely thanks to Nugs.net, because we've been able to see these shows in such quality and pick up that intimacy of the music and the interrelationship between the musicians and all that. So our hats are off to the whole gang that put this together.
Yeah.
And we have our guest.
Let's do it. Bring him in.
Yes, indeed. Perfect for trick-or-treat night, a quintessential prankster. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary, the almost mythical Ken Babs.
Yeah, he's been mything more than mythical. Hey, what the heck? Okay, all right.
So glad you made it. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. It's the most beautiful fall we've ever had in Oregon. The colors are fantastic.
Oh,
That's
great.
great.
Yes, turn that phone off. You're busy. And
Yeah,
we have,
that's what I just
you know,
did.
for we have a lot of baby deadheads, younger deadheads, people who have just come into the scene recently. And Ken Babbs was one of the co-founders and chief instigators and chief subversives in a fantastic confederation of humans called the Merry Pranksters, who were centrally responsible to the early history of the Grateful Dead. So, Ken, let's tell us a little bit about the Merry Pranksters and your early connection to the Dead when they were just getting started as a band.
Well, it was when I got to know Ken Kesey in the writing class at Stanford, the graduate writing class in '58, and he was living at this place called Perry Lane, right across the street from the golf course. And it was Alan Trist that brought these guys up to his house and introduced them. And they were talking for a while. And after they left, I said, "Who were those guys?" And Kesey said, "I don't know, some hairy musicians." But then we'd go down there and catch him at St. Michael's Alley. And we got to know him, as friends and all that. And then we went out on our bus trip in 1964 and came back, and we had shot the whole thing in the movie, and we were editing the movie and at Kesey's house and showing what we were doing on Saturday nights. And it got so crowded, we started hiring a hall. And first place we did it was at my house in Santa Cruz. We didn't hire that one. And the guys showed up, the musicians showed up and were playing. And so we had a great time there. And the next hall we rented, they showed up again. And then pretty soon they were our house band, the Warlocks. And I think it was like the second or third acid test that they changed their name then to the Grateful Dead.
Right.
Now, David Nelson once told me that he was there at an acid test. He thinks of it as one of the seminal moments in the development of Grateful Dead music, that they would get to the end of a song and everybody was still up there dancing and moving around and everything, and that he watched Jerry like urging the musicians to keep playing and move it forward. And he thought of that because everybody was still tripping and moving and stuff. He didn't want the music to stop. And David Nelson thought that the impulse to not stop the music is what gave rise to the form of collective improvisation that has sustained them for all these years ever since.
That's very good. The thing of it is that there was never a stage, and people would be wandering around in and amongst the musicians and going, and there was no separation, audience and performer. And so that's the reason that happened. And they would just keep going as long as people would go. And it opened up things. And we as a band, too, the Merry Band of Pranksters, we had instruments and played. We would set up on one end of the hall and they would set up at the other end. Sometimes they would play, sometimes we would play, and sometimes we would play together. And the whole improv just going and coming up with whatever the mood was in, playing the walls and the people. Became a part of the whole thing. It was really, really something that really broke music out of the frame of the beginning, middle, and end. And inside that frame, you break out of the frame, go places where nobody's ever gone before, and then come back into the frame and end the song.
Yeah, Jerry talked about those days so fondly, and he loved the fact that it was both structuralist and so multi-sensory. The band could lay out and there would be sounds coming out of speakers from electronic tapes and weird loops of sound, and the band could fall into that flow or lay out of it. I think Jerry once said, you could play for 5 minutes, you could play for 3 hours, or some nights we wouldn't play at all and the party just continued. And he even said he always, a part of his musical life, and he was being a little facetious, but maybe not entirely. He said it was all downhill after the acid test when the Grateful Dead found out they had to be professionals. They had to show up at a certain time and stand on a stage at one end of a room with all the lights on them and being the sole focus. That was something they never got back. That acid test sensibility.
I know. That's the problem with when you become famous, is you lose that thing of being a grassroots. But on the other hand, it has its own thing too. And the thing that really came out of it are the Deadheads that continue to exist by the millions. and support that music. And then also the way that music has gone into so many other forms and so many other bands and everything. So it's like it'll never die now. It's too much part of us.
Very true. Hey, before we go any further, I want to mention that you have a new book coming out called Cronies, and it's looks like a memoir, Adventures with Ken Kesey, Neil Cassidy, the Merry Pranksters, and the Grateful Dead. Look at that cover, Babs and Kesey. It's called A Burlesque by Ken
Yeah.
Babs. Now, what exactly does burlesque mean in the context of a literary endeavor?
Okay, it turns out that a burlesque is a legitimate literary form. And when I found out about that, I thought, oh boy, because this is not a memoir and it's not fiction. I didn't want to do either one. Open for me because a burlesque is defined as a historical occurrence embellished with inventions and exaggerations. Well, that was perfect for me. You know, what can you remember about the 60s? Oh, this and that. Well, what do you do then? Well, you make up the rest. Because like Timothy Leary said, if you were there, if you can remember, you weren't there.
Right. Indeed.
So,
Hey, go ahead.
This is the perfect form for me. And it has a legitimate background. The first one was done by Washington Irving back in 1700s. Knickerbocker's History of New York City. And he wrote that, and it had things in there like, why is the mayor meeting every ship that comes in and taking all the good-looking women and hiring them in the hall? And people would say, what? Is he really doing that? You know, and stuff. So it has a background. And so the way I've done it is also in a normal book, you one chapter leads into the other, or they go as a straight line through. But I've made 70 different stories. Each story is a standalone story. Like one of them is the acid test, and one of them is meeting Kesey, and then the bus trip, and going on through time like that. Starting with when I met Kesey at Stanford writing class in 1958 to when he died in 2001. So each one of these is standalone stories that can be taken by itself. It's a book. It is really a unique book. There's never been anything like it.
It seems to me Kesey had an epigraph on one of his books that said, "All of this is true, even if it didn't happen." Does that kind of apply to what you're talking about here?
Yes, that's exactly right. That's a line from what is it? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where the big Indian says it's true even if it didn't happen.
That's great. Speaking of notable stories to be told, I don't know if you've had a chance to catch any of the shows on this tour. Maybe not in person, but the streams. Or you may have heard about the show that the Dead and Company did at Bethel Woods, right there on the side of Max Yasgur's farm. And I don't know if you know, they started the second set by playing the exact song sequence of their famously catastrophic set at Woodstock. Basically got it. They basically got it right. They redeemed it or exercised it or something. And I know you were on stage at Woodstock that night. In fact, you were the guy who was tasked with talking that loon off the stage who had commandeered a microphone and during Love Light and was doing this rap about there being a third coast in the Great Lakes. So I'd love you to be able to hear that set that they played at Woodstock, because it was incredibly cogent and without interruption and fantastically improvised. So it was really like they were kind of atoning or redeeming that set. So it was really fun.
Oh, that's good. But I've looked at that a lot, and it is super. What the band did there was super. The whole song, Love Light, and everything went on, and the chaos on the stage was unimaginable because there had been this storm that everything crashed down. There was water deep in the stage, and nothing was working. We got one microphone working, and then things would come in, and they just plowed on through that song, and with that guy that was out there, he was tremendous. He's become a real hero to me. We thought of him as kind of oh gosh, who's this thing? But he was high and he was out there, and it fits everything that happened. And that whole sequence is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. I don't like anybody to put it down anymore.
I agree. I mean, the Dead always exaggerated how badly they played. They played heroically under the circumstances, given all that was crashing
Oh,
down
yeah.
around them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They
Yeah.
were tremendous.
Yes, and there is footage of you enticing that guy away from the microphone with a joint, which I've always loved. You know,
Well, yeah, when he
it was
was
like,
out there, he was out
yeah,
there. I was standing up there, and Bob Weir came up to me. He says, "Babs, get him out of here." So I lit up the joint and went over to him and offered it to him. He said, "Yeah." So I kind of let him off with the joint, and he was smoking it over to the edge of the stage. And then Ramrod eased him down into the crowd, and so it just went on. It was smooth. He was quite a guy. He had quite a rap.
he did indeed.
I know, it's things like this that make scenes like Woodstock and the Dead and everything we do remarkable. Because, it's you can't plot or you can't script anything like this, or you never imagine it's going to happen. And then you turn it into something wonderful. That's really the art that the pranksters and the Dead were able to accomplish with all the work we did together. That art of taking nothing and turning it into something in an imaginative way and going places where nobody else had ever gone before.
Well, and it
We
was
still
also just that
What?
life itself was a creative experience, and that everybody was inhabiting each other's narratives and stuff, and it seemed like a time that was just completely ripe with possibility and connection and openness and all, and it inspired. I'm several years younger than you guys, and I kind of missed a lot of the first wave of it, but man, we just surfed in your wake very, very happily, and in a world of possibilities.
Yes, indeed. And people, it's nice to be known about all this. And it was Tom Wolfe's book that really made us the poster children of the 60s and the psychedelic movement. But in reality, when we were doing that in the Bay Area, thousands of people were doing it. And took something like the Trips Festival that they put on there in Longshoremen's Hall that brought all the different acid groups together, that all the different art forms together in one evening. And you saw that, oh gosh, we're all doing this together, and we're doing just like you said, David. We're opening things up and creating new avenues and making it possible to become a different person, a better person, because behind all of this is the wish not only to entertain, but also to be kind to people and help establish that rapport between people that diffuses problems like people scuffling or doing stuff like that. The pranksters were really good at that, getting in a scene where people were kind of going at it. And I remember the time we were at the Vietnam anti-war festival in Berkeley and walking through the crowd, and these provocateurs were trying to get the long hairs to fight them and start something so the cops would come in and break the whole thing up. So we walked right in there, and Neil Cassidy was walking along, and he pulls out this pack of Dentyne gum, and he pops one open, pops it in his mouth. He says, it passes around, he says, "Dentyne gum, anybody? Dentyne gum, anybody? Cleans your palate, cleans your mind, cleans your whole soul out. No, that's good. Yeah, sure, have that." And everybody went, what? And they were just so confused, and fell apart. That's an art form that's an art form that is still good today, because I don't care. You go to midnight at a 7-Eleven parking lot, there's something going on there everywhere. And sometimes it's kind of rough. And for someone to come in and then turn it sideways, you just have to turn it sideways slightly to confuse them, just enough that breaks tension.
Wavy was really good at doing that kind of thing too, the sort of creative non sequitur. Listen, let's get back to this book you've got coming out called Cronies, because people that are checking out this conversation are going to want to know how to get hold of it. What can you tell us about it? It's not available yet, right? Is there a pre-order available?
Yes, there is. The pre-order has been going on for a little bit now, and he's got over. This is another beautiful thing, that Tsunami Books in Eugene became Tsunami Press. And my buddy Scott, he wanted to start a press, and then he wanted to do my book as the opening one. So he set up the pre-order, and there's 600 already in there, and they're still coming on. And so you can email Tsunami Books, at tsunamibooks.org and put in a pre-order. And you got to do it now because we'll have books in mid-November, the first run off the press, and Scott's getting 1,000, and he's going to use those for the pre-order. But when they're gone, then everybody has to wait till January when the real publication date comes out, when distributors go to all the stores and everything. So if you want to get in on this, go to tsunamibooks.org in Eugene, Oregon,
right.
and ask about it.
So Tsunami is spelled with a T at the beginning. TSUNAMI books.org.
Yeah, tsunami, like a big wave, the big tsunami. In fact, on the
Right.
front of the bookstore, he has a big mural across the top with the tsunami racing across the roof.
Well, I'm sold. I'm getting in my pre-order before this night is done, sir. I want my copy as
Good.
quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, not only
Yeah.
that, but if you pre-order, you get it for $28 free shipping. But if you buy it at the bookstore, it's $30. Save $2.
All right. I can use those $2. Thank you, sir.
You can't buy a pack of zigzags.
Great. And
Yeah.
I presume there will be a book tour and stuff, and you'll be doing readings and things like that. I hope.
Absolutely. In January, when the book comes out, I'm already setting up tours in the Bay Area. My son Isaac is doing a charity event, and he's going to bring me in there and read from my book and raise money to for some disease that they're trying to find a cure for. And he's going to sell books there. He's going to order like 100 or 200. And you know who else is in on it is Dennis McNally. He's our West Coast publicist, and he's helping with Freddie Hahn set up readings in San Francisco, Marin, and Santa Cruz. So that'll all be in 1 week.
Word out. When that stuff's all done, and Gary and I have our call-in show on Sirius XM on Sunday afternoons. We'll have you on there when the book is available as well, so you can talk to that crowd as well. Listen, the band is starting to head back toward the stage, so we're going to wrap this up. I really appreciate you taking some time with us and talking a little bit about it, and I hope everybody will check out Cronies, 70 little tiny self-contained stories that will all add up to a giant saga, I'm sure.
Right.
580 pages.
Wow.
That is.
They are not tiny stories. They're all like 25 pages.
Right.
What?
And like the man said, all true, even if it never happened. I love that phrase. And Ken, it's always such a delight to talk to you. We will see you again very soon, I trust. And thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me on here. It's a treasure. It's a pleasure. And hello, and God bless to all you deadheads and all you dead musicians out there. Keep up the flame. Let your freak flag fly freely.
Let me say one more thing. Thank you for your seminal role in helping what we're seeing tonight from this band have its beginnings. You know, you were one of the people who planted the seed, and we're still harvesting the incredible bounty here. So I love it. Thank you so much, Ken.
Oh, me too. I'm still glad to be part of it, and I'm still happy to be among the thousands and thousands who were in on it with us, planting their seeds too. I mean, the stuff was flowing in those days.
All right, Ken, take good care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh man,
so we want
looking forward to that book.
Minutes, so we can give some thanks to the people who made this project such a joy to be part of over these last 10 weeks.
Yes, indeed. First and foremost, our friends at nugs.net who hired us for this gig and made all the technology possible. Brad Serling, the boss man at Nugs, and the guy who had the idea to bring us in and do this thing. Our incredible right hand, or maybe we're working for him, Jacob Lima, who has been running both these beautiful live streams. He's the guy who gets the music together for you to stream a half hour to an hour after the show. He's juggling so many things under these amazing, unprecedented pandemic conditions. Jacob, we can't thank you enough. Dead & Company's management team, Liz and Red, um, the band itself, of course. You guys are the reason we're all here. You're the reason we have this community. And even though the community was somewhat self-invented, we needed a we needed a light bulb to fly to like moths, and you guys have been it for a very long time. And thanks to Jay Lane for being the auxiliary member.
Yeah, I just want to mention Arya Jha. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, and Aaron Skidmore, who were the
Yes.
support people on the getting the stuff out to the, moving the graphics around and all that stuff. It's been really fun to work with everybody at Nugs to get this stuff done. Plus, there's all this business of getting codes out to participants and login codes, and a lot of people just moved a lot of information around efficiently and with a warm spirit, and made this whole process just really, really pleasant and productive. And from the feedback we've gotten, massively entertaining and even enlightening to people.
Yes, as we said, our goal was to be more entertaining than a slide that said, "Please stay tuned." We think we pulled it off, but we have to give all credit to the fantastic and varied group of guests who agreed to be with us, starting with Don Was, ending with Ken Babbs, and all the incredible stops in between, including landing Oteil Burbridge and John Mayer over this past week or so. And of course, we thank the Deadhead community who have been utterly supportive of this, utterly supportive of the band, and pretty dang nice to David and me as well along the way.
You got that right. And my wife, Rita Heralt, has been amazingly supportive of having this large operation trumping through her living room for the last 10 weeks as well. She's been quite accommodating to the weirdness of our schedule. And she's just the best anyway, all the time.
Well, yeah. Plus, she gets to dance in the living room to all this stuff, so everybody wins.
That's true. Exactly so.
And David, my friend, it has been such a joy to do this with you. We've been yammering at each other for an awfully long time, and it ain't getting old. We have a lot of fun doing this.
It's true. I'm a very, very lucky man. I have to say, I get to work with lots of really, really cool people. Having you for a co-host on Tales for 13 years has been great fun. So I guess that kind of made us naturals for this. So it's just been a treat, the whole damn thing. But none of it would matter if the music wasn't so great, because really, this is a musical deal from the get. And the fact that the music that the band has been making has been so interesting, so compelling. My enthusiasm for this, the rest of this stuff might have fallen off a little bit if the music weren't so thoroughly enjoyable and challenging and rewarding and really, really fun to listen to.
That's true. There was not a moment where Jacob threw to us and we had to feign enthusiasm or equivocate. Say, well, that was an interesting angle on that song, kind of. We never had. Oh, it's showtime. Thank you all so much.
Everybody.
I'm putting my hood back up.
See you in the future.
direction. After it's only upon Scrooge to leave, then my back might need protection. I told Alfie that treachery tearing me down from them. Alfie told me, now cool down, boy, settle back, easy, Jim. Maybe Saturday's child, all grown, moving with a pinch of grace. You may be a clown in a burying ground, yeah, or just another pretty face. You may be the face of Ophelia, sleeping in perchance to dream. Honest to the point, recklessness, self-centered to the extreme. Ain't nobody messing with you but you. Your friends are getting most concerned. Lose with the truth, baby, it's your fight. But baby, don't get burned. And when the smoke is cleared, she said, that's what she said to me. You're gonna wanna beg to lay your head in a little sympathy. spaces getting high. You know this space is getting high. I told Althea I'm a roving sign, that I was born to be a bachelor. Althea told me, well, okay, that's fine. So now I'm trying to catch her. Can't talk to me without talking to you. We're guilty of the same old thing. Talking a lot about less and less, and forgetting the love we bring, and forgetting